Our next guest has been termed America's foremost common sense psychiatrist. These are just 3 of his most recent books. I mean, this guy's got, how many books have you written?
I think about 11.
About 11 books. Okay, we've got Risking, Language of Feelings, and How to Live with Another Person. We're talking about Dr. David Viscott, MD, who not only is doing this, but a radio show, and you have a line of greeting cards coming out.
My whole area is the area of human feelings. And what I've discovered is that most people have difficulty understanding what they feel and communicating those feelings to other people. Basically, the problem with anyone who has emotional problems is related to being blocked in the expression of feelings. And if you can help someone to understand the pain that they're in and the nature of the pain and get them to express what hurts in a way that communicates it to the person who's responsible or who needs to hear it, you relieve the pain and the process of healing takes place.
Now, tell me, with all the things you do you still have time for a private practice?
I have a very busy private practice.
Very busy private practice.
But it's an unusual practice which is structured after a concept that I've developed. I think most of therapy is often time wasted, and not because of the therapist being incompetent or the patient not wanting to work. It's that the therapeutic process occurs naturally and over a long period of time. And what I try to do is to allow that process to occur with as little intrusion by my own therapeutic hand as possible, so that the patient gets better on their own, feels strongest about it, and doesn't become dependent.
Do you cure people on the radio?
Well, I don't know whether anyone gets cured from life.
The pain. Say it that way because it sounds like, you know, are you a healer?
Well, you see, you cannot really be healed of the experience of life. All you can do, all any good therapist does, is tell you what the truth is. You see, if the truth becomes available to you, you either have to avoid it or confront it. And if you confront it, it may hurt like the devil, but you have the opportunity to resolve it. See, everything you feel has to do with pain. Pain in the future is anxiety. That's what we call anxiety. You expect to be hurt. So when you're anxious, it means pay attention. It's a danger sign. Watch out. All right? Now, if the danger sign is occurring all the time and there's no danger, it means that you're afraid of something breaking through. The loss that you expect to have may be a loss of self-image. You may be afraid of a feeling that will put you in a bad view of yourself. People don't like to be angry, so the idea of seeing yourself as an angry person might be perceived as a loss. You feel you're going to lose control, punch the baby, kick your wife, do whatever. So that kind of feeling is an indication that you maybe fear losing control or losing esteem. So the experience of hurt in the present is not difficult to understand. It's called sadness. When you feel sad, you've experienced the loss. And if you don't express the hurt, it becomes anger. Because essentially what you're doing when you're having anger is you're holding in the pain of a hurt and letting it grow. When your anger hurts you, that feeling is called guilt.
So you should let go.
Well, you should let go in the context of the hurt. When someone steps on your toe, you say, "Oh, that hurt when you did that. I don't like it. I wish you'd stop it." If they hurt you again, you now know that they either don't care, or they meant to hurt you, or that your feelings aren't important to them. And that's a realization which most people fear developing, because it means now it's up to me to do something about it. If that person doesn't care for me and I'm living with them, and they're going to step all over my feelings, it's up to me to create either space between them or to change the relationship so that my feelings are respected. And people find that very difficult to do because they're afraid of taking responsibility for their life.
Is it the same cure for everybody, no matter what the problem is?
What a difficult question. The truth is yes. The truth is that everyone comes to understand the truth of their feelings. And the feelings may be different in each case, and the way in which the feelings may be dealt with may be different. But accepting the pain and mourning the loss, coming to terms with what can never be, and accepting the present is the process that everyone goes through when you suffer. If you think about anything in your life that's been difficult, the things that didn't work out, the parent who didn't support you, the relative who died, it all has to do with accepting the inevitable and allowing that empty space to heal.
Do you treat people for phobias they have about height or gosh, you know, there's so many of them.
I treat people for the whole wide variety of emotional disease, but I work very differently. I only see people 4 times. Many people I see once or twice. I see people for 2 hours at a time, and each session is put on tape. I give you a cassette to take home, and you play the cassette over and over again, and you analyze your style of avoidance, the way you defend, the feelings you find difficult, the little quirks of speech that come out, the things you lie about, so that you have an analysis in very great detail after you've played the tape back 10 or 12 times of your style of living, and you become very close to who you really are and what your pattern of avoiding problems is, so that you develop an understanding when problems happen anew of what you're probably doing, because that first interview is memorized by you, and you become aware of the things that you do that stand in the way of you being free.
So you do 4 sessions with one person, and you say by the 4th one they're cured of whatever their problem is.
Well, I don't like to use the word cured, but I try to more, because how can you be cured of life? How can you be cured of the pain of what the future will hold for you? We're all hostages to fate, but the idea is to become ever more conscious of your feelings, ever more aware of what you are, and increasingly able to take responsibility for yourself and the world without apologizing. That you can be angry at someone and want to hurt them, and it doesn't mean that you're bad for it, merely because it's you.
Does a psychiatrist treat himself?
Well, I feel it in I grow with every patient. I think too often we've gone into the profession because of our own psychiatric limitations ourselves and have psychological needs that are unmet, and being in the role of the healer, being on this side of the desk rather than that side of the desk, can be comforting when you know that that's the patient and you're not. I can remember one of the guys in my residency used to say, every morning I get up and say, the patient is on that side of the desk and I'm over here. But that's
the way he kept his sanity?
He didn't do that well with it. But, but the problem is that not all the healers are terrific. And the idea is that what you must do is be in a giving relationship with the patient, where you're able to tell the patient everything you understand in the context that that understanding developed in you, and to be very giving of that and not to withhold it. I think too much of therapy is conducted in silence, which is often nothing more than a mask for not knowing.
Tell me about these greeting cards. That's what I want to...
Well, I started writing greeting cards years ago. The new line is for couples who live together, and they're cards that are not meant to be mailed. They're called intimate afterthoughts, and they can occur after a fight, after being loving, after being intimate. And what they do is they hope to reestablish or strengthen the communication between the couple. Imagine going to a meeting and pulling out your briefcase, and there's a little card that says, "You're going to do terrific, I believe in you." I mean, it's that kind of card. It reestablishes and extends the relationship between 2 people to the world around them. And it may sound hokey to do greeting cards, but it's just an extension of this whole notion of helping people understand their feelings and broaden that understanding into an action that actually makes your life better.
Well, thanks for being with us.
Good being here, Bill.
David, Dr. Viscott. And if you haven't seen any of his other 11 books, these are part of them. And, of course, here in town on what, KABC?
KABC.
Great. All righty. Thank you.